Hey folks, Haskov here. Time for the code review of my Obnoxious.lua script for the BizHawk emulator. So we'll just get straight into it. Right away, we have the minimum seconds, and these all capitalized variables right here are ones that you could comfortably change to tweak how the script performs. This is minimum seconds before it performs an action. This is maximum seconds before it performs an action. This is a process called load ratcheting that is available that I will discuss in a bit when we go over how the actual save and load process works. So keep that in mind. This right here is the button that you will press to control whether or not the script is currently running. There is a table that BizHawk gives back when you can pull what buttons are being pressed when the script is running, and this is what the one is. That is the L button. This player one's L. That's what I'm getting at. This counts the frames. This counts when we're waiting for the program to run. This is the maximum random, which we'll also cover in regards to load ratcheting. This is doing the frame math for time in seconds. This initializes our random seed. This says, hey, how many frames are we going to wait before we perform the next thing? This tells us, hey, this is the amount of frames we're waiting. We save an initial slot so we don't have any weirdness with trying to load something that doesn't exist. We say we're not active right now, and we track L pressing as a means to not spam toggle back and forth between running or not running. So while we're true, we do. We control the script with the L button. This block right here is how we control the program. Every frame, we say, tell me what is being pressed right now. If in the table of buttons being pressed, we have the control button set to true, then if we haven't registered that we've pressed it before, we say, okay, we're true. We invert the active condition. So what that means is that if the script is currently active, pressing the L button will turn it off. If the script is inactive, pressing the button will turn it on. And we print the state that it's currently in. And if we are pressing L, if we're not pressing L, and we have registered that we were pressing L before, then we set L pressed back to false. So what this logic here says overall in like a sort of broader context is that if I press the L button and hold it, I'll say, okay, I wasn't holding it before, I am now holding it. And then as long as I am holding it, it's not going to keep re-triggering the action. When I let it go, it's going to go false and press is going to be true. So I say, okay, we are done pressing the button. So now you can react to the next L press. And now we're going on to running the actual script. So this is the bit that does the work. If we are active, then we start counting frames. If the frame count crosses the point of action or hits the point of action, we use a random number generator to pick what we're going to do next. And this is where load ratcheting comes into play. If the action is 1, we save it. And then we set our max random to the max random value plus the amount we're doing for load ratcheting. And we save our state. So what load ratcheting does is every time, if you turn it on, right now it's set to 0, so it's not going to do anything. But let's say you set it to 1. Every time you save, your random number generator for performing the action right here will get wider. And so every time a 1 is generated, you save. And if you add load ratcheting, if you save, the next time the max random will be 3. So you will load on a 2 or a 3. And if you keep saving, you'll load on a 2, 3, 4. You'll keep loading on a 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Until eventually you hit the load, which if it's anything greater than or equal to 2, then we hit load, we load the slot, and we set the max random back down to 2. So the next chance has a 50% chance to save or load. What you would do is you would make load ratcheting higher if you want there to be increasingly higher chances of loading. If you're if you find that it's not super exciting when you're saving a bunch of times in a row, because there is a statistical chance that you will save through an entire run. And you're like, oh, that's kind of goofy. It'd be a funny situation if that were to happen, since like the odds statistically are so low. But that's a thing. And if you're nervous about that, you could turn on load ratcheting, or if you want to make it even more frustrating, you could increase load ratcheting. From there, we figure out, hey, here is the next amount of frames something's going to happen. We print that when it's going to happen. We reset the frame count and get back to counting. Right here, if the frame, every 120 frames or so, we print the running message, just so you can see what's happening. And this is the else. And this is if we're not active. We increment through wait count. Every 120 frames, we'll say, hey, we're not running. So the wait count is 0. And then we do the frame advance to tell the emulator to keep going. And that is the code base. If you want to use it or take a look at it for stuff, cool. This should all be GPL licensed. And thanks a bunch for watching, and have a great day.